Hi, welcome to the small shed. This Saturday we're back dealing with the clutter and mess that made my life a bit of a misery for a week or two. See you in a minute. Now yesterday I dealt with the shed, getting all the stuff out, getting all the floors cleaned, getting a bit of working space back and a bit of system back into things. Let's go and have a look in the garage and see where a similar problem awaits us and how we deal with it. So out in the garden again, same sort of problems. I'm starting to work on this patio, but the amount of work involved in moving the soil for probably 40 or 50 seconds of video is quite considerable. And again, I've been fighting the weather really. It's not particularly good day today, but I can't get down to a decent bottom until I know the weather's going to be reasonably dry and I can put some stone in more or less straight away, because otherwise it just deteriorates. I've still got to cut along this section here. There's another half a metre or so to come out there, but we are getting on with it. It's just again a lot of work, not much video. Meanwhile the rest of the garden is looking a little bit better. Again, I've moved bushes and things that again you wouldn't want to see, but we are starting to get some signs of growth, and the things that grow up the shed have got to be tied back in, but that's coming along. Things are starting to get burst into life. So in the garage it's pretty much the same story. Now I know it's only one project, but there are lots of parts and components within that project: wheels, electrics, brakes. And what's tending to happen at the moment is that I'm not concentrating on any one thing, and so the usual story, I'm trying to do 5 different things at once and nothing in particular is getting done. And we've also reached the stage where, like the shed, I can hardly see the floor, can't get at what I'm doing. There's bits lying everywhere which, if they were put back on the cart, because there's no reason not to at the moment, like the grill, it would make my life much easier because there'd be much more room in here. So that's the next thing. There's all the platform that the thing was up on that's probably could be taken apart now, because I'm not going to have this thing up in the air again because it's getting towards being a bit too heavy now for that. But as you can see, the cart's getting along quite well and that is probably some of the reason I have to confess that the other videos have suffered a bit. I'm desperately trying to get this thing ready to run this year in the season, and I think I'm already going to miss their first meet-up. They've got a place at Silverstone. I don't think they're actually on the track anywhere. I think they're doing a static display there, but I'm hoping I can get to one of the earliest kart track runs just to try and get the thing bedded in and see what's wrong with it, if you like, early in the season. But as you can see, it is getting quite close now. We've got all the pedals connected up for the brakes, brake calipers in, engines in, gearboxes in, fuel systems in, just got to put a bit of piping on it. Electrics are jury rigged up at the moment to a panel here which will eventually have to go into the dashboard, but there's was a milestone the other day when I actually got the starter to turn over, so we're getting very close with that. But as I say, it just needs a damn good tidy up in here. The upside is that the videos for the cycle cart, which I think I'm on about number 50 something at the moment, 55, something like that, I'm also filming at the moment. The high 70s and number 80 or whatever, so I'm well ahead with those, but I think that has been to the detriment of the normal shed videos at the moment, and that is hopefully only a short-term thing. The other thing that took an awful lot of time, and I still can't get done, is the tail, which is all prepared, ready to get fiberglass on it. This is basically just like a mould for it to go onto. But again, that's weather dependent. But that must have taken probably 2 or 3 months of time in the shed, getting all that made and formed. And again, that was to the detriment of the other things going on in there. So, and it was clogging the place up. So let's just set things up and start and get this thing a little bit back together, so that we can then get in and out, put some of the things away in appropriate places, put my tools away, and move on from there. Now that's not by any means perfect, but it's an awful lot better. I've got the bit of space around the cart that I need to get on with it. Cart's now sitting on all 4 wheels, with the wheels properly bolted on, and I can at least get at anything I need to. And rather than having all the bits stacked up in pieces all the way around the edge, they're on the cart. If I need to get at something under the bonnet, I take the bonnet off, put it back when I've finished, not just leave it in a heap. I've tidied up the plywood boards, cut some of those down and taken all framing off most of them. I've left myself one board for working outside on a trestle for when we get onto things like painting and things, and maybe even the fiberglassing of the tail. But all the tools are pretty much in the right place. They're not necessarily put away, but they're all where they should be. All the nuts and bolts have come up off the floor that were loose lying around, and they're back in the drawers. So that has pretty much tidied the garage. I'm leaving the chair bench back there at the moment, purely and simply because it's not doing any harm there, and if I put it in the conservatory, I'm a bit worried about it getting too hot and being a problem in there if it's left while we're away. And the bits and pieces of the shed lift, the railway club lifting flapper over there as well. But at least everything's now in a state where I can get back into working mode. Very happy with that for a couple of days' work. So let's move on to the workroom, where, well, we'll go via the bathroom, where there's been a major problem with a leak in there that's taken weeks to get sorted because it needed drying out, and the shower tray in the ensuite, which has also been leaking and we've had to sort out. So there may be a small video in those, but nothing like the time it's taken. But of course the last disaster zone is the workroom, where, as you can see, it's just become totally unusable again. And I think the problem with that has been the 3D printer, actually. I think that's the cause of it. Because I wanted to get stuff done with the printer while I'd got it, it took me down a route of finishing off or getting on with a military train that I was building. I'd already started to do some work, but the dearth of correct scale military vehicles had stalled the project. And I've found a lot of prints now for lightweight Land Rovers, armoured cars and the like that I've been playing with the printer, sometimes getting the scale totally wrong. But again, that's caused me to get out all of the stuff that I'd got for kits for the low loaders and things for the railway, and that has just, as you can see, caused chaos. So all that needs putting away. It's not something I'm going to be doing at the moment, but of course it has stopped anything meaningful going on in the room itself. Otherwise, I had made a start on clearing up in here so that I could get started with the rework of the room itself. But this is just totally banjacks the whole thing. There's a small Arduino project that I've been playing with as well, that's out and wants putting away. Now the model railways is another sort of diversion, although it's just really, I'm just picking up on something that I was doing quite a bit of, and then I think around time of the pandemic I tended to drop away from it a bit, and probably because I wasn't getting over to the railway club at Leamington, I tended to lose interest a bit, and I think that's started to come back over the last 6 months or more. So Stourbridge Town, the board is here. There's another board still to be made, and that's sitting in the corner there. I've found room in the refurb of this room to be able to store those two boards, but again I can't really do much until I tidy the place up a bit. The 3D printing on the trams has generated something which is a larger scale one as well, because the Railway Club have got an outdoor gauge 1 layout, which again is something I shouldn't really be doing, but it sort of took me fancy while I'd got the printer. But again, I think I'm going to box some of this stuff up. Now I've got the stuff done, I can just worry about it another day. And you'll see here the board that I built for the lifting flap in the railway at the Railway Club, which again is yet another project still to be got on with a bit. This was a test board I did for it. That has already been started for a little N-gauge, 009 layout, narrow gauge, which again I've had the stuff for a long while, but haven't been using. And I got that out and made a start on that, and then of course that's all got covered up. So again, it's another of these things that I see something shiny, something new, start on it and forget about everything else. And I need to just rein that back in again, and maybe take a step back for a week or two on some of these projects, and knock them off one at a time instead of trying to knock off 15 at once and then failing miserably in all of them. So same as in the other two rooms in here, I'm just going to put everything back away that I've got, all the half-finished bits of military vehicles and things. I've done what I wanted to, which is to get the prints done. I can worry about tidying them up and painting them and all sorts of things another day, and get them out of the way so that we can see the wood for the trees perhaps. And there we have it again in the workroom. The tidiness has sort of kicked in there again. I've now got the two projects, the 009 layout on that side, Stourbridge Town on that side, with no clutter other than the little board I take to Railway Club to work on getting in the way, so I can just go and do stuff on them without any fuss as and when I want to. Again, I've put everything away as far as I can. It's still a mess, but most of that is because the whole room needs the rebuild anyway. But at least, again, I can get in, I can see the floor, we can get it sort of swept up and tidied up, and we know where everything is, so really happy with that. Another good couple of days progress. Right, well that's it. I've had a week or more of doing this, during which time nothing got done, but it's been really useful in that firstly it has done that sort of mental reset that I'm now in a much better place, I think, than I was before. I've got a list of things that need doing rather than them keep popping into my head and I'd forgotten that I'd got to do that and got to do that. I've found 3 or 4 projects more in every room that I'd forgotten about, but now they're all on a list. I can just deal with them one at a time. I can get an order of priority to get them sorted. As a matter of interest, there are 24 items on that list at the moment, so it's going to take a while to get them sorted, but as I say, I feel much more at ease with it all now and happier to do it. The other thing that doesn't get seen effectively is that there's also the videos that are sort of in production, because whilst all these things are going on, there are several videos being made, and although some of them won't probably ever get finished because there'll be things that haven't really turned out to be a thing, they are still getting edited as and when I get the footage and built up, rather than leaving it all till the end. And again, currently in production, I think there are about 20 or so videos running that need time spent at night dealing with, and the cycle cart has probably got the same as well in terms of numbers. So life is busy here, but it keeps me on my toes. Hope the video was of interest. Look forward to seeing you next time. We'll be doing something different and hopefully productive. I'll see you then. Bye.